Guys, it's Mark from Erickson Machine and Performance. Today we're going to go over stroker cranks. So, let's get started. Alright guys, so thanks for coming to the channel. As always, we got sticker packs, t-shirts, stuff like that if you want to help out the channel. If not, totally cool. Please like, share, and subscribe the video. So today, I've had a bunch of questions asking about stroker cranks. What's the difference? What's the benefits? Stuff like that. So, you know, the old adage, there's no replacement for displacement, goes with these. Now, that being said, the port timing has to be adjusted accordingly. So, you know, a properly set up stock stroke motor can actually make more power than a stroker that's not set up properly, but a properly set up stroker is going to beat it out normally. So this is a stock stroke crank, 4mm ADR stroker crank, and this is a lightweight 10mm stroker crank. The main difference with cranks as you go up, the stock Yamaha crank has a 125mm rod. That rod is used normally up till about 5mm strokers. After 5mm, you end up going to a 133mm rod. So this is the 133mm rod. This is the 125mm rod. So this is an ADR rod. This is a WSM rod. So the main difference is angle of attack. So as you go out on the web, you know, let me pick this up and bring it up so you can see. If you look, the rod ends up being below the web as the stroke goes out. So strokers, basically what it's doing is when you are looking at this pin location, as the stroke increases, it goes out. So if it's a 4mm stroker, this pin is moved 2mm out on the web. So 2mm out this way on a circle ends up equaling 4. You know, it would be 2.5mm for a 5mm, 3mm for a 6mm, 4mm for an 8mm, so on and so forth. So as you go out, the rod ends up going out. The other thing with strokers is over 4mm, so this is a 4mm. With a 4mm, the rod ends up just going below the web, so it hangs out a little bit, but you can go without trenching the cases on these. After this, you end up needing to trench the cases to make up for the stroker crank. And then if you look at a 10mm stroker crank, like this one, if you look, the rod's completely sticking out a significant way. So in that way, we end up having to cut a deep trench on the 10mm. You actually cut completely through the aluminum on the bottom, and then you make it up with epoxy and a plate to make up for it. So, you know, after 4mm, you know, 4 or 5mm, you stop using the short rod, you go to a long rod. I prefer using the short rod up to 5mm. After 5mm, I will go to a long rod, so that 6, 8, 10, 12 use a long rod. And then they have the 16mm stroker and the 22mm stroker, which those two require billet cases. So the 10 and 12, you end up basically machining through the bottom of the case, and then you build it back up with epoxy. The 12 makes it extremely thin. So, but that gives you a general idea. I'm going to take a couple close-up pictures so you can see the difference on the pin locations on them. You know, if you guys are interested in building a stroker engine, something like that, feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to help you. So here you go. If you look, you can see how close the pin is to the edge on the 10mm, and then how far the rod sticks in on the 4mm. You can see the distance away. You can see the rod just comes up over the web. And then lastly, on the stock stroke, you can see where the pin is, and then you can see the rod does not come up and over. So that gives you an idea on the three. You know, in general with a stock cylinder, 6 mil is really the most that I go with a stock cylinder, because after that the piston will actually go up past the top of the sleeve, and you know, you can't have the ring go through the top or it's going to go bang. So after 6 mil you end up going to an aftermarket cylinder, so you know, ET, TPE, DASA, something like that, where it's a power valve cylinder, or some of the older, you know, R&D ADA cylinders, stuff like that. But I hope that gives you a good idea on these. So as always, please like, subscribe, share. You guys have a good day.